Hi, I'm Heyzeus, and this video is about the rarest skins in CSGO, sponsored by Trade Skins Fast, a site where you can trade skins fast and safe as well, which is obviously quite important if you're going to be trading skins. Anyway, there's a lot of super rare skins in CSGO, super rare patterns, super rare knives, super rare souvenirs, which are always going to be extremely rare because of the way they're created. So, for example, there is only a single StatTrak minimal wear Doppler Black Pearl on the CSGO Float database, for example, because the odds of getting one are just so low. You've only got a 1 in 400 chance of unboxing a knife to begin with, and then there's only a 1 in 10 chance of that knife being StatTrak, then a 1 in 6 chance of that knife being a butterfly knife, and then a 1 in 6 chance of that knife being a Doppler, and then a 1 in 100 chance of that Doppler being a Black Pearl, and then a 1 in 8 chance of that skin actually being minimal wear, at which point your chance of unboxing one is about 1 in 115 million, or something like that. So this type of knife is always going to be super rare. And there's a lot of stuff like this in CSGO, special knives, special patterns, special souvenirs, that are always going to be either one of a kind or close to that, because of the way they drop. By design, there are these special factors that make them extraordinarily uncommon. But what if we exclude those factors? What if we exclude knives, exclude patterns, and exclude souvenirs, and just focus on ordinary weapon skins? So we're still counting StatTrak, and we're still counting different conditions, but that's it. So ordinary skins. How rare can these things get? What's in the top 10, and how many of them are floating around? Well, I looked this up on the CSGO Float database, and this is what I found. So our first skin is the StatTrak Factory New Org Momentum. Now, there's only 57 of this skin, and it is from the Prisma case, so it's fairly new, and that's a big part of the reason why it's on this list. There hasn't been enough time for more of them to be created, but another reason why it's still currently so rare is that its wear range is incredibly punishing. As you can see, it caps at 0.05, so there's only 0.02 in the Factory New range, and of course the rest of the range is all available. This means it's very rare to unbox one that's Factory New, and it's a massive pain to trade up for one. So that's the main reason why they're rare at the moment, just difficulty in acquiring them and the fact they haven't been out very long. Give it a month or so, I'd say there's going to be quite a few more, and they'll be safely off the list. Anyway, at number 9 we have the StatTrak Minimal Wear G3SG1, the Executioner, and once again, this is a skin with a really awful wear range. It's limited to 0.14 to 0.15 in the minimal wear range, so it's really hard to trade up for, it's really rare to unbox, and in any case, the Revolver case, the case it's from, wasn't unboxed very much anyway, and there isn't that much demand for this skin as well, so not that many people bothered trying to trade up for them, so as a result, there's not many of these things, only 54 in existence. Next up is the well-worn Kronos at number 8. This is a skin from the Gods and Monsters collection, and it's rare for a few reasons. Once again, we have that punishingly narrow wear range, so it's only available from 0.38 to 0.4 for well-worn skins, but also, basically no one trades up for this thing. In fact, it's not really even possible to trade up for a well-worn Kronos. No one in their right mind would even try it. So this means that it's only really possible to get these things from drops, and they don't drop terribly often. They're an operation drop, there hasn't been an operation for ages, and even when an operation is running, your chance of getting one is infinitesimal. So they're really rare. There's only 52 of them listed on the database, and one interesting thing I did note, they're mostly stashed with a couple of different collectors. There's a couple of well-worn Kronos connoisseurs out there who've gathered them all up. Anyway, next up is the StatTrak Emerald Dragon, but not the Factory New Emerald Dragon. He didn't make the list actually, there's 61 of those. This one is the StatTrak Well-Worn Emerald Dragon. And these things are rare for similar reasons to the Kronos. Firstly, they're extremely difficult to trade up for because of the way wear values work, and they'd be a major money loser anyway. You wouldn't want to do it unless you've been smoking meth or something. And they're also from the Bravo case, an old case that hasn't been opened much. So putting those two things together, you can see why there might not be that many of these things in circulation. There's only 47 according to the database, a heap of which are in banned or inactive accounts. So in practice, there's probably even less. So this brings us to number 6, the Factory New Splash Jam. Now, a lot of people might not have even heard of this skin. It is quite ancient. It's from the Militia collection, one of the first ever introduced to CSGO, and it hasn't dropped since Operation Vanguard. And Aside from not having dropped much in the first place, the main reason these things are rare is that trading up for them is more rigged than EA's surprise mechanics. Essentially, the only way to get a factory new Splash Jam is to do a 10% trade up with a single M4A4 Modern Hunter. It's expensive, it's high risk, and it's hard to even get the inputs, and surprise surprise, not many of these things exist. Only 45 are on the database, split between various collectors. Anyway, for number 5, we've got another Prisma Case skin, the StatTrak Minimal Wear Incinerator, and this thing has a hell of a lot in common with the Executioner. They're both classified, and they've both got a near identical float range of just a tiny bit in the minimal wear section. It caps at 0.14, making it, as Borat would say,
barely my asshole
to trade up for. Not that there's much demand for these things either. Something like a quarter of them are currently listed on the market. Long term though, the number of these things will probably go up quite a bit because you can get them from the same trade up you get the factory new Org Momentum from. So they definitely won't stay on this list forever, but for now there's only 40 of them, so they're right near the top. So on to number 4, we've got the factory new StatTrak Red Laminate. There's only 38 of these in existence, and I remember McSkillet literally tried for years to trade up for one of these with no luck, which is understandable. The best odds you're ever going to get trading up for one of these is something like 3.5%, and that trade up contract is going to be extremely expensive and very difficult to find the inputs for. So yeah, not an easy thing to get, not an easy thing to unbox either. Its parent case, the Esports 2013 case, was never a common case to begin with, so no surprises that these things are super rare, worth well over $1,000 and held by various collectors who, no surprise, have stuck all manner of expensive stickers on them to boot. Anyway, skin number 3 is the StatTrak Battle-Scarred Orion. Now, the Orion, as you might know, was removed from the Huntsman case after the How debacle, but was still kept as part of the collection, so you can still trade up for it. The problem is that the Battle-Scarred part of its float range is so small that it's functionally impossible to trade up for these things, meaning that the only ones that exist are really just the ones that were unboxed back when that was possible, and there's only 32 of those. So if you want a shitty Battle-Scarred Orion, well, you can actually get them at a pretty reasonable price because no one else really wants this ugly piece of shit. Like 20% of them are listed on the market. If you're willing to fork out that dosh, well, it's all yours. And with that, we're down to the final 2, and you might be surprised with this next skin because the second rarest skin in CSGO is the Minimal Wear Negev Anodized Navy. There's only 32 of these skins in existence, and if you're wondering what the fuck this piece of shit skin is, well, it is one of the inputs for the Glock Fade from the Assault Collection, which was only ever dropped very briefly during the early days of CSGO. Now, most of the skins we've discussed so far are rare because they're hard to get from trade-ups. This skin has the exact opposite problem. It's rare because they've all been used in trade-ups. They've all been used in trade-ups to get Glock Fades, and at this point, there's hardly any left, and a lot of what does seem to be left seems to be in trade banned accounts. So who knows how many of them are actually marketable at this point, but either way, this is now a super rare skin. There's hardly any left. And finally, at number 1 is the StatTrak well-worn M4A4 How. Now, the How is a skin that needs no introduction. Famously made contraband because of stolen artwork and removed from its case. You can't unbox it anymore, you can't trade up for it anymore. And the well-worn How only occupies a tiny section of the weapon's float range because it caps at 0.4. So barely any of them were ever unboxed before the weapon was removed. There's only 10 listed on the database. Maybe there's a couple more tucked away in private accounts, but either way, they are clearly the rarest skin in the game. All of them held by collectors, and I don't know exactly what these things sell for, but I would imagine it would be a pretty penny. Anyway, that is the top 10 rarest skins in CSGO, at least according to this database, which isn't 100% perfect, but it's the best resource we have, and I think it probably has got the list right. If you think I've missed something, by the way, which I may well have, it's hard to make sure you get this 100% right, let me know in the comments so I can issue a correction. Also, before I go, I'd like to talk about TradeSkins Fast. TradeSkins Fast is a trading site where you can trade for items for a range of games including Team Fortress 2, Dota 2, and most importantly, CSGO. It's way cheaper than using the community market, a far smaller sales tax, it's quick, it's convenient, if the item you want still has a trade hold on it, just send in your offer and it'll move to your on-site inventory. Also, at the request of the owners, I'd just like to show you that if the items you want are on a couple of different bots, you'll get offers from a couple of different bots. Apparently this freaks some people out. You don't need to worry about it. It's just because the items you want are on a couple of different accounts, so you'll get a couple of trade offers. Anyway, this site is fast, cheap, and safe. I recommend checking it out. And with that, I would like to wrap up the video. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed it, please like, comment, subscribe. It'd really be appreciated. Otherwise, trust the numbers, not your guts. I'm Heyzeus. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time for the summer sale video.